Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Disc Golf Examiner. Today, we're bringing you coverage from the 2021 Brent Hambrick Memorial Open out in Columbus, Ohio. I'm your host, Brian Keegan, joined today by Kelsey Brakel and Ashleh Baumann. How are you, ladies?
I'm good.
Doing great.
And I do want to say a very special thank you to Nick Long, the Columbus Flyers Disc Golf Club, and Camber Disc Golf Company for sponsoring us to be out covering this event this year. I am super psyched because anytime I get to come out here, I love this course. I think it's a great par 3 with some par 4s mixed in there style course. And it's always fun to be able to cover the pros out here. I know both of you are local. Let's go to hole 11. It's a par 3, 355 feet. And this one plays pretty much straight up the gap here, where the basket is guarded by a bunch of trees.
I think this is one of the prettiest holes on the course, especially when the basket is in this position, tucked back into this little grove of trees. And Ellen has one of the coolest shots on this hole. She threw the same shot all 3 rounds.
Yeah, that forehand roller.
Mm-hmm. And this is, unfortunately, the round we have on film is the only round where her forehand roller did not pay off as well as she wanted. She ended up basically on the tee to the next hole. But it's a good line because the ceiling is so low once you get down close to the basket and even up kind of halfway that the roller takes a lot of that out of play.
I have no idea how to throw a forehand roller that good, so
No.
I'm just throwing a fairway driver that straight down the gut. Everyone aims for that tree in the middle and just hopes they don't hit it. And if you can, hyzer around it, you're going to be looking real pretty.
Kristy basically
a possible 2, yeah.
Threw exactly what you want to throw. Just straight down the middle, straight at the basket. Don't make it complicated.
Exactly. 3s can be easy on this hole. If you can get something up there a little further, you might have a chance for 2, especially with Ellen's roller.
Mm-hmm.
She can get in there. But yeah, 3 I think is a good play for this hole.
And I know the ladies on the card ahead of you were like, whose shot was that?
So she has not a good look from where she is. There's just not a line from there. That really didn't stop her from making it most of the way to the basket, but she's just punching through those pine trees and hoping.
I was thinking about giving that one a run, but that tree to the right of the basket leaning in, I just could see myself whacking it. So naturally I missed a little left. I can, tap in for a 3.
Yeah. Chrissy's got kind of a long comebacker.
Oh, she knew it the second she let go of it.
Yeah.
It's tough in this heat to get your hand the correct amount of moisture. Either there's too much or there's not enough. You're using chalk bags, and I don't know if you use one, Kelsey, but sometimes it's so hard to get the consistency right on your hand to where you feel comfortable releasing and holding on to the disc.
Well, and I don't know if you saw Kristy's hands at the end of the tournament, but she had fairly sizable blisters.
Oh, yeah.
By the time the tournament was over, just because of that.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I can't even hold on to anything anymore. I'm like, oh, it's insane how much, the heat can affect everything.
Yeah.
And luckily we're back in these wooded holes at this point.
Yeah, we're so thankful.
Hole 12 is a par 3. It is 306 feet. Plays, this is actually the short position that you're seeing the tee from, but the longer position plays along that hillside with a bunch of rough there, and you can actually see it on the left-hand side down there.
The only advantage to all that rough on the right side is that if you end up in it, it might save you from going down the cliff on the right side.
I agree. That bush sticking out on the right towards the top of the hill is pretty common area for players to hit if they're trying to pinch a little too tight to get close to the basket. I'm not messing with it at all, and I'm just throwing something straight up there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get aggressive, which Ellen is kind of doing here, you have to hug that right side, but you can also end up like Ellen did here, get knocked down, and then have to contend with shrubbery and a cliff. Kristy had a nice shot just straight out into the sunshine. It's a nice place to be.
Beautiful turnover, approach shot.
I think Ellen was trying to figure out what in here was dead and what was alive.
Right.
What can be moved and what is still attached to the ground. She had a really rough stance to figure out.
Oh, yeah. And there's all types of twigs and branches in the way.
She got knocked down early and ended up, I think, actually sliding a little bit. She made forward progress, but she slid further down the hill. There. Yeah, once you end up on that right side, it's hard to get back out. Kristy.
Approach shot, yeah.
Gave
Making this hole look easy.
What do you putt with, Ashley?
I putt with magnets. I've played around with the plastic a bit, jawbreaker, soft magnets, but always the same.
Good putt. She was really frazzled after.
Yeah, that's rough.
Adventure. Yeah, she recovered really well. That was a substantial putt that she had to make there, and she recovered really well. Kristy kind of left herself with a comebacker again.
Yeah, it looks like she did a little bit.
She doesn't lay up very much. I mean, like you said, on hole 7, she likes to give it a chance. But she makes her comebackers often enough that it's worthwhile for her.
So we'll go ahead and move on to hole 13. It's a par 4, 437 feet. You have to make this first shot, I think. You have to get your placement there. And then from that shot, you need to make it around these trees one way or another, where the basket is on the left-hand side guarded here.
And once again, we're basically playing along with that same cliff along the right side of the fairway that we had on the last one. I usually throw a mid-range here because all I'm trying to do is getting around the corner somewhere towards the short tee. I'm not trying to actually bite off that much distance.
Same thing I'm trying to do here. I just threw a little too far. I needed it to cut a bit sooner. Kristy also opting for the backhand. Doesn't get it turned quite enough. That is a great looking shot from Ellen, forehand. That's perfect position where you want to be. In front of the trash can, Kristy has to pitch out so she can get in a position to have her up shot. I think I'm going to go for some type of roller here just to get some distance and out so I can get in a better position as well.
That was excellent from where you were sitting.
Thank you. But now I'm in those trees on the left side, you can see, so I'll have something a little tricky to get up there.
Even though where Kristy is throwing from is basically the perfect spot to be, it's still hard to get to the basket from there. Your options are basically a low hyzer that skips, or something high, and you just hope you have enough force to crash through the trees.
Right. Yeah, because that gap on the right side narrows, and it's tough. You don't want to, you know, grip lock it or throw it into those trees where you can go down the cliff again. There's danger on every hole out here.
Ellen hugged it a little too tight, but she's still got a good putt. All I can really do from there, all I can do is lay up. Is this hole a par 4? It is. Yes, I see it.
Yes.
I see the pictogram in the lower left.
I did not get that it turned as much as I wanted, but it's through the trees, and I'll have a look at a putt. I think Kristy was deciding which gap she wanted to take through the pines.
A rare moment where Kristy pauses to think about it.
I know. The one time I asked her while she was thinking about it, she was just waiting for someone to pass through.
It's a good run from Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm supposed to be talking, but I was just so like tense. I was so stressed about your putt, I forgot.
Me too. I was like, did I make this or not?
I think it's a great hole because it requires a placement shot on your drive, and then it's still a really challenging second drive. But this hole gets me every time. I have such hard, like, I feel like I should be able to get a 3. How hard can it be? You throw an anhyzer, you throw a hyzer, you drop it in. I never get a 3.
Right. Yeah. It is super tough. And it's not one of those holes where if you mess up your drive or your upshot, you can still save par. Like if you mess one of them up, you're getting a bogey. If you mess 2 of them up, you might be looking at a double. Who knows?
So hole 14, this is a par 4. It is 500 feet. You really want your first shot to make it to about the hill or maybe up the hill.
You were watching too many of the MPO players.
That's true. That's true.
We're not trying to get our first shot up the hill, Brian.
Well, that's a spoiler for tomorrow, I guess.
There you go.
All I'm trying to do is keep it as much on the right side as possible without ending up in the woods. Because if you end up on the left side of the fairway, you're really cut off on your second shot. But again, we're running next to the cliff on the right side, so you end up too far right and it's scary. But what I did and what Ellen did is really what you want to do, which is be as much right side of the fairway as you safely can so that you have a look for your second shot. And we don't have, I think, aspirations about getting up the hill. Kristy kind of, I think, had an early release there. Just had to pitch back to the fairway to have a look. She ended up in a good spot, though.
It's a beautiful upshot, too.
Yeah. Yeah, from where we're at, from where Ellen's throwing now, it's still got to be pretty close to 250, but it's uphill, and so I feel like it plays a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's just like a shelf. It's not like the whole thing goes uphill, so you're throwing almost, at eye level is where so you have to throw it up a little bit.
Yep.
You were starting to climb that hill on your drive.
Yeah, and I pulled my second shot over a little more than I wanted to. That's a really pretty shot from Kristy. And now Ellen's got a long putt. Were you obstructed by that stuff on the right, or was it a pretty clean look?
Yeah, I was a little obstructed on the right, if I recall correctly. I want to say, yeah, I threw it a little high and got trimmed on those trees a bit.
Yeah. I wanted this 3 so badly.
Just like an inch too
Not
low.
badly enough. If I wanted it badly enough, I would have thrown it 2 inches higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great 3 if you can get it.
Yeah. No, I have buddies who brag about getting a 3 on that hole all the time, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'd be so happy if I could get a 3.
I want to say, I think I got a 3 the first round. I threw that same shot, but just like I ended up parking it, and I was super happy about it. But you guys don't get to see it. Just take my word for it.
So this is hole A. It's a par 3. It's 340 feet. Now, the day before, whenever I did this walkthrough, there was not a tree down. However, a tree fell down close to where the basket is. So the tournament director actually moved the basket to about 340 feet. It's the closer pin that you're going to see here, the OB road on the left-hand side.
Yeah, obviously the play is to avoid the road on the left side. I think Ellen meant to hold on to that one a little longer. I'm throwing a backhand undertaker, just a fairway driver, something that I know goes straight, has a nice finish. Just aim it out over toward those woods and let it do its thing. Kristy's so fast, she barely got her throw. Got it a little low. I think she wanted to throw that a bit higher.
It was a good up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real good up from where she was at. Ellen ended up here the first round too. Just kind of cut off her forehand a little early, but the third round she had a really nice shot and corrected.
Right. Yeah, I remember her saying, finally.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, especially with forehand play on that, you're throwing OB almost the entire way. So it's tough to trust yourself that in the disc that it's going to, hyzer back when you need it to. So,
yeah.
But she made the correction. That's what disc golf's all about, is learning from our mistakes.
It's truth. That's a great birdie.
Oh, thank you.
It takes a lot of distance to get it all the way there.
You can see what Brian was talking about, the caution tape with the down tree. I want to say Taylor was playing or practicing when it came down. It's kind of like a domino effect in the woods.
Yeah, I think Taylor said she was actually standing where the tree is now and heard it and began running.
Yeah.
So we're going to go and move on to hole I. It's a par 3, 325 feet. OB road on the left and thick woods on the right. You definitely, I've seen people use the road to skip, but mainly I think people are trying to keep it in the center of the fairway.
I think it's hard to get anywhere significantly down to the basket without hanging it over the road to some extent, either via a forehand or a really aggressive anhyzer, which is where you have the opportunity to run into a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I held on to that one. It caught on my finger. I don't know if I was trying to throw it too hard or what, but we definitely are OB on that shot.
This is a heat. It always turns over. I can rely on it.
Is that the Iron Man stamped one?
It's a pangolin.
Oh.
Fun fact, the only mammal with scales.
Mammal with scales. Oh, yeah. I think I know what those look like.
That's
Kind
a
of
good
like
forehand from
armadillo.
Ellen. They kind of look like armadillos. Everyone go look them up. Use Google. Kristy ended up kind of doing the same thing as you, just as a backhand. Didn't
Right,
quite
yeah,
get
didn't
it turned over
turn
enough. Yeah.
It's tough. You want to definitely avoid the thick trees on the right, and then, you know, it's
Oh. Kristy had a great upshot there, though. That was beautiful.
Ellen's giving this one a good run.
Yeah, she
Almost.
is. Really gave it a chance there, too. Yeah, I spent a minute trying to figure out what I was going to do there. At first, I was going to try and go low at it, and then I opted for the backwards step out. It wouldn't have really mattered. It was just
You
going
almost
to
got
be
it
up
in
either
there.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, this hole can be tough for sure. If you don't get a good tee shot, it's just intimidating, I think.
Yeah. Double bogey's rough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Once you go OB, you try and make up ground, and you can end up making another mistake, which I think is what I did there. Which it's a lot of that can happen on these holes out here. You know, if you go OB, you try and throw your next shot a little harder to make up, the distance, and yeah.
And then it spirals.
Gotta know when to take your medicine, that's for sure.
And hole 15, another par 3, 315 feet. Tightly wooded here, road OB on the right-hand side. Seems like a lot of people are taking this gap here. You want the disc kind of hyzer out to the left if you're right-hand backhand and skip down into these trees here.
Yeah, I don't think the road really comes into play for very many people. I think usually what ends up happening is either you cut it off a little too early and end up in those woods on the left, or you push it a little too far on your drive and you end up kind of long in the trees down there like I did. Oh no, this round I got cut off early. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think that the best play is, throw something that's going to fly straight for most of its flight and then kind of just hyzer out at the end. And it does go downhill, so your disc can, get a little closer to the basket. Kristy's shot looks good.
Kristy's shot is beautiful. That is
yes.
exactly how you want to play that hole.
I believe I'm throwing a vulture, which is a stable fairway driver, looking cut off a little of those branch. And I got a great skip.
That's perfect. That's so good. Ellen did the thing where you push a little too far forward before you hyzer, and then you end up in this stuff.
Which honestly, yeah, I think is better than if you saw it off too early and get caught early on those trees on the left. It's almost a for sure bogey. So yeah. I think better to go long and straight than too early left. Kristy making good on her bird.
Such a good birdie. It's a great putt.
It is great. Because the shot's totally blind, or the basket is, so it's nice to go down there and kind of see where everything ended up. Yeah. Nice replay. Beautiful putt.
It earned applause from Ellen. You've got to tap in.
I was like, we don't say anything.
I know. Then I was like, oh no, what if I jinx retroactively?
All right. So it looks like Ellen's going to putt out here for her par. And we'll go ahead and move on to hole 16. Getting down to the wire here. in this second round of coverage.
Yeah, because don't forget we started on 18, so we only have 2 left.
Yes.
There's another par 3. It's 318 feet. Plays down through these woods, and actually, you have a little bit of jail on the right-hand side, and behind which is the basket out here in this clearing.
This is a hole that
is a beautiful hole.
It's so pretty, and it is not designed for an Anheuser. The woods are so tight on the left, right off of the tee. As you can see, Kristy's like flirting with it so close.
Really, if you can get something straight, all the way down there, it's good. I mean, it's tough because the basket's on the right, so you always want to put a little bit of turn on it. But I think the common mistake is to pull it into the trees on the right.
Yes. You end up turning too soon. That's basket long. It's just in the pines on the left of the basket.
I'll have an easy pitch up to the basket for a 3. That is a beautiful shot. I think that's exactly what you want.
I honestly think Ellen's forehand play here is the way to go, though. She wanted to flip it up a lot more. But
and I think I saw her third round shot forehand, and it got down there quite a ways.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how amazing that out was. There's no line back there. It's all thick bushes. She threw some kind of overhand shot and got all the way out of the woods.
Oh yeah, it took her a minute to get comfortable. We would see a lot of bushes moving and her going up and down, but it was worth it. She got it out there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give it a half bid without hitting the trees.
That's an amazing par save. So good.
I love Ellen's putt. If you ever notice how she picks her foot up and is balancing on one foot when she
like a
putts.
ballerina.
Yeah, and uses her other foot as like a pendulum, and I think it's so neat.
Boring tap-ins for us.
So we'll go ahead and head on to the final hole, which is hole 17. Hole 17 is a par 3. It is 350 feet. You have a Mando tree over here on the right-hand side, but also the road would be OB if you landed out in the field. Really, it's another straight long shot with, I believe you want your disc to finish a little bit left there.
Yeah, you just want to get down to this tiny little bush right here, and then hyzer left if you're throwing right-hand, backhand. And usually you can get a good enough skip off the dirt that it gives you a putt at least. I didn't realize about the Mando any of the 3 rounds. Like every round, it was brand new. Every round I was like, oh, there's a Mando. Neat. I was like a goldfish. It doesn't really come into play for us because none of us are trying to take the big outside hyzer. This is what you want to do. You want to throw it straight right to the bush and then hyzer at the end and give yourself a look at a putt. But yeah, the pros go, if you don't have the Mando, they'll try and go over the top to take all of this tight fairway out of play that Ashley's contending with. I'm trying to be like Kristy. That's all I want. I just want to be like Kristy.
I think you were like a centimeter from every tree all the way down.
It was
we all just held our breath.
Much more on the left side than I wanted to be.
It's such an easy miss because you really want to get something straight. You're trying to make sure you get enough, snap on it to get it down there, but you don't want it hitting anything on the right. It's just a narrow gap all the way down.
Yeah, it's easy to end up here where Ellen is on the left. That forehand roller scares me, what she was lining up, because it's, just
right.
So rocky and rooty, but she got down there. She definitely has a look. That's nice and smooth. Playing the skip.
Not as far as I had hoped.
It's a long putt.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen really left herself with a long look.
That'll be a tap in for her.
Yeah.
Kristy giving it the birdie look.
I don't know what we were giggling about.
I have no idea. I wonder, maybe you got something on your disc?
Yeah, I don't know.
There was a lot of laughs.
Yeah, it was
on
a
our
really
card.
good card. It was an excellent card. I had a lot of fun.
I did too. Kristy and I were talking about trying to do battle putts at some point. A lot of trash talking.
Very professional.
Yeah. Well, we play Ladies League together, and I've always looked up to Kristy. She's a really great girl. So
she's one of the, for anybody who doesn't know her, she's one of the tournament directors in Columbus, and she runs some of the best tournament series that we have around here.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. A lot of added value. Make sure she pays attention to detail.
And that's going to do it for our coverage. I want to thank both of you for joining us and being in the commentary here. It was great having you. Great getting to cover you. Ashley, I think this was our first time covering you.
I think so. You might be right. Yeah, first time commentating too. So hopefully everyone enjoys.
Leave comments. Let Ashley know how she did.
Constructive criticism is what we're looking for. Constructive criticism.
And Kelsey, thank you again for joining me in commentary, as you have in the past as well. But we also do want to thank the Columbus. We also do want to thank the Columbus Flyers Disc Golf Club, Nick Long, and Camber Disc Golf Company for sponsoring us to be out at the Brent Hambrick Memorial this weekend. It was a ton of fun. We met so many people, and spoiler alert, since there was no other coverage after the second round, Kelsey won it. Congrats, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything that you two would like to say before we go? Any shout outs to your sponsors or anything like that?
I would like to obviously thank you Discraft, Flying Colors Disc Golf, and Roosters Wings. Thank you, Brian, for having me, and Kelsey. It was so great to finally get to play with you and compete with you. I know typically you like to beat up on the guys, so I'm happy you're playing with us. Well-deserved win. Like I said, it was great watching you play. Very consistent and just a great person to be around. So thank you.
It was great to play with you too, Ashley. If we're still recording, I just want to say my sponsor is my father, who bribed me with jelly beans when I was 5 to play disc golf. If we're not recording, we didn't miss anything. That's why Ashley went first.
Well, your dad's name is Bruce, right?
Correct.
Well, thanks, Bruce, for getting her hooked on disc golf. Hey, that's going to do it for our coverage of the 2021 Brent Hambrick Memorial Open, the second round FPO. We're going to have one more round of coverage. This time we're going to cover the MPO, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be a heated battle in that division this year. So definitely make sure you tune in for that. And that's going to do it for us. So until next time, keep banging those chains.